Hello everybody, it's Miss Darling in the studio. I'm pleased today to show you a journal I just completed, and this is not only a tribute to an artist that I featured in the Masterboard Theater a little while ago. His name is Jean Michel Basquait, but also a little bit of an not an autobiography, but just something that is really me in the process. And so here is the tassel that I put together for this, a nice feather and some beads and chains and a little bit of the fabric that I used on the cover. And this is my self-portrait. I did this in I think may have been if not the art that I collaged and made while I was filming that video, but at least it was one that I did as a result of inspiration from the art and style of Jean Michel Basquait. I thought I would just do a quick little tour through this particular journal, which I have already started journaling in myself. And I'm not real big on journaling myself, though I love making journals. But this one is kind of really reflective of who I am. So this is the cover, and the spine, and this is the back cover, and this was the left-hand side of that particular masterboard. And I love cats, and so it just really is reflection of who I am, not only as a person but as an artist. And this is my self-portrait. And here you have the word collage, and so I thought you'd enjoy seeing. This is going to be a great example of how I take the masterboards that I make and incorporate them into the journals that I make. So I'm not just randomly making masterboards with no purpose other than to videotape. And I do use them, and quite a bit, as a matter of fact. So I've put a hitch fastener on this with an elastic cord closure, and I put this lovely little dangle on there that I took off of a bracelet I've had for decades and never wore because it was too heavy. So, all right, let's open it up and see what we have. Here is a right side of the masterboard that I actually made while I was filming the Basquiat video. And some of you will, if you saw that. If you didn't see that, I will link to that video in the description box. So be sure and go acquaint yourself with Basquiat and his work and life. And so this is actually representative of my daughter, Swoop. And here's this is here because of Swoop. And in fact, I wouldn't even be making videos to share with anybody if it were not for the encouragement and help of my daughter, Swoop. So I've included her, and she's a big fan of Basquiat as well. In fact, she's the one that alerted me to him. And so here we go. Here is an example of one of his pieces. And over here, I have made an art card that features some of his work, and this is just a bookmark that I made out of scraps and things that I had on hand, and I just thought it looked good and fit right in with the style of this particular journal. So then flipping over, this was an enlarged an enlarged image of part of one of his images, and I enlarged it and put it on a large masterboard for the purpose of using within a journal of this nature. And you can see how I've started journaling, and you can't read that. That's none of your business. And, and so then here opposite is another one of his art pieces. He was very famous not only for painting on canvas, but for also painting on wood pieces, furniture, things that he would find out on the street, and pieces of a fence or whatever. And so that's an example of one of those. And here this is an image that my daughter really loved, and I bought it for her for Christmas to put in her apartment. And it says, if it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. And that's was said by Marcus Aurelius, who was, I believe, a Roman Caesar. For anything worth having, one must pay the price, and the price is always work, patience, love, self-sacrifice. John Burroughs. So here's another one of Basquiat's work that I just love, and as you can see, this was painted on wood slats, and then I made a tag here that has bits and pieces of his work in the background and can be journaled on, and that just slips right into this pocket here. So not everything in this journal was something that I made. For instance, this is a digital piece that I purchased from another creator. But wherever you see this stamp, that's going to be an image or part of an image that is my artwork. And this is half of one of my abstracts that I used as a masterboard. And this gives me more room to journal, as well as these. And this is the second journal that I have incorporated colored dyed paper, not just coffee dyed paper, but other types of dyeing process that have been used and achieve some really vivid colors. Here is half of a masterboard that I created, and on the back I printed some lined, this is an abstract in the background, a vintage abstract, and then I put lines there. I don't know about you, but when I write, I have a tendency to kind of slant upward, and I hate that. And so I wanted to have some area here where I have lined paper that will help guide me, so I stopped doing that. And I just added in some papers that I just happened to have leftovers in my stash that I just wanted to use up, and if I felt color-wise or even design-wise that they fit in with the style of this journal, then I stuck them in. And so here you can see another one. And this is from a jelly plate that I made. And I added the word journal via my computer. But the original painting was done on a jelly plate. Here's another one that was done on a jelly plate, just different color palette. And here's some more dyed paper. And then I love this type of imagery, and so I had some of that I included in here. I've had a number of African masks that were made into little figurines by some artist somewhere, and I think I clipped them out of magazine or a book, and I've had them for a very long time and never used them, never ran across an opportunity to use them until I made this journal. And you'll see more of these in the journal as we go through it. So I'm going to flip quickly through. There's another kind of a light grape dyed paper, and I thought it went very lovely. This is another jelly print art of mine, abstract, and I glued one of Basquiat's thin panels on it. I like it, and I thought the colors were appropriate. Here we have the back side of a jelly plate of mine, and then this is just a beautiful kind of French country. My home is decorated with French country, Italian country themes and styles in mind, mixed in with a lot of Oriental and a little bit of African and a little bit of modern. You name it, it's very eclectic, and so is this journal, which is perfectly describes who I am. So here's another piece of the lined abstract. This is the back end of a masterboard that I made on the computer, and just using imagery that I had. And then here's another quote. This is by Vincent van Gogh. It is good to love many things, for therein lies the true strength, and whoever loves much performs much and can accomplish much, and what is done in love is well done. I thought that was really beautiful. And after I leave this planet, I want to leave behind some things for especially Swoop, but for my son too, if he's interested, but things that have meaning to me and hopefully will be there to bless them as they go on in their life without me. So then here's a beautiful another orange sheet of paper. Music. My daughter has been very much involved in music for many, many years. Here's another one of Basquiat's pieces. He did a lot of work. He had started out as a graffiti artist, and you can see that influence in his work. Here's another part of a masterboard that I made from a jelly plate. And I just love this image here, so I included that. I'm a fall color person. I wear fall colors mostly. I live with them. I just am a fall kind of person. And here's another one of Basquiat's Tall, Thin. I don't know if this was painted on a piece of wood or not, but just thought it worked very well right there. Here's another one of his, and then some paper I had in my stash, and some light blue dyed paper. And now we come to the end of the first signature, and here's another piece painted by him. Again, the masks. I don't know if that's the same mask as was up here earlier or not. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, so that's the full artwork there, and then here's a blown-up version of it. And these are tags that I made as cutouts. They were cutouts from a very busy masterboard I made at the time I did the Basquiat video and for Masterboard Theater. So, you can cut things up and turn them into great little ephemera pieces that can be journaled on the back. You see that's this just brown paper on the back, easy to write on. And so now we come to the end, and this is the back end of the front cover. There's the front and here's the back. And that was a masterboard dedicated to my daughter Swoop. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I have this little dangle here in the middle of the signature, and this was the cording that I used to tie the signature off, and so I added a dangle to that. Now we start signature 2 with a bold image from Basquiat. This is really just part of a painting, and I thought it needed a little something extra to pull the eye in and focus on it, and so I put down one of those, the second of the African masks that I have had in my stash a long time. Flipping it over, some of the graffiti art, blue paper. Here's a wonderful painting of his. This is all on wood, and in fact it might be 2 paintings put together in the book. I don't really know. But I added this quote at the bottom: "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Epictetus. Never heard of that. I rather think it's probably a man, but I don't know. Probably Roman or Greek, I don't know. Anyway, nice quote. And so moving on, I may add some other ephemera to some of the dark pages that are here, and can easily journal right over that, a page like that. And here we go with another mask, another part of a jelly plate of mine. "I love you not only for what you are, but for what I am when I am with you. I love you not only for what you have made of yourself, but for what you are making of me. I love you for the part of me that you bring out." And that's by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. So here I have a side tuck, and I have put in some of Basquiat's artwork that was kind of too big or too much but I cut it out of the book and then folded it in half to make a place to add journaling. And here's another one, and folded in half. This one has art on the back, but anyway, I wanted to include that. And then here is a piece of school book paper that I had some coffee dyed paper that I have stitch on that I have in my Etsy shop for anybody who wants to get that and download it. And so I picked out one of the pieces of stitched paper and printed on top of this school book paper, which already came with the 3 holes punched. And I thought, well, that'll be a fun thing that a person could add to any journal. And I didn't like the white paper by itself, but colored it up and it works just nice for me. Here's another image that is part of an abstract I painted on the jelly plate. Here's another one and another one. You can see I've done a lot of work in abstracts, and you can, if you have a jelly plate, I really love them. You can do all kinds of things on them and really turn out a lot of artwork that you can use in your journals as you choose. Here's another image painting by Basquiat, and I believe this is the one that recently sold at an auction for $20 million. That's the kind of status he has achieved, particularly since he's now deceased. And the quote I put there is, "Dost thou love life?" then do not squander time, for that's the stuff life is made of. And that's from Benjamin Franklin. Here are a couple more images of Basquiat. Just, putting a lot of color and fun and craziness into this journal. And here's another sheet of paper that I printed off. And actually, I want to fold this the other way. This, again, is that school book paper. And I overprinted with some of my coffee-dyed paper files. So a nice place to journal. Another one, I really like this. I mean, it's just really an odd piece, and I just really like it, so I included it. The quote says, "I love you more in that I believe you had liked me for my own sake and for nothing else." And that's from John Keats. And don't we all want to be loved just for who we are, and not what someone can gain from us or anything else? We just want to be loved for who we are. Here's another part of a painting of mine. Another jelly plate painting. And this is the center of this signature, so I added this dangle to the cording that I used to tie off this signature. Another painting, more dyed paper, more places to journal. Maybe I'll add a little bit more ephemera in there. I just really love this painting. Basquiat hooked up with, oh gosh, now his name escapes me. I can't think of it now. So when I go to edit this, I'll put his name in the with the text so that you know who that is. But anyway, they collaborated on a number of shows and stuff. And Andy Warhol, it's Andy Warhol, and until Warhol got a little jealous that Basquiat was getting a little more attention than he was, and so that ended that friendship and collaboration. But this was a painting that Basquiat did of the two of them as, I'm sure, a tribute to their friendship. It's unfortunate it didn't last. Another piece from a jelly plate, two more jelly plates, and an African image. The back end of a jelly plate with overprinting, or I should say inking on top. And then here I've made a pocket with some tags that are, I used images of Basquiat's, and these tags were cut from a very busy masterboard that I made at the time I was doing that video on Basquiat. And so we move on to more images. I really love this piece. Just love the colors, and thought it looked so well with this particular page over here. And we're coming to the end. More of the chalkboard type graffiti art. This is the blown up version of part of his art. The one that is, I believe it's called The Mask, and that sold for the $20 million. And here is the final image. This was the left-hand side of the masterboard that I painted while I was filming that video. And this represents Dirt, Spank's special guy, Dirt Hollywood. So that's it. the end of this particular journal, which I'm going to be working on over the next days and months, and however it takes me, how long it takes me to kind of fill it up with memories and thoughts that hopefully Swoop will find meaning for after I'm gone. So, this is Miss Darling calling this a wrap. Bye-bye.